blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's get this right. Greetings from ABC Acres. I'm Grant Shadden, here at the edge of one of our pastures to talk about some of the weed management strategies we've been using for the past couple of seasons to reduce some of the populations of plants that we don't want in certain areas. And really that's all a weed is, a plant that is growing where you don't want it to. Now in permaculture, we typically have more of an appreciation for plants that are typically considered weeds. In this case with hound's tongue, which a lot of ranchers have to deal with in western Montana where we're located, it is a plant that we don't want in our pastures because it can lead to some health problems for our livestock if they graze it. And so with the way this grows, after researching it and observing it over the past couple seasons, we've been noticing the timing of when it's going to flower and when it sets seed. And one of these plants, on average, has between 300 and 600 seeds, which have little hairs on the exterior that will stick to our pant legs, to the hair of cattle, and any other livestock we would have in the fields, and they'll spread them and distribute them out. There's even some plants that have had as many as 2,000 seeds on one plant. So you can understand how quickly this can become a problem. It is considered an invasive species around here. And most land managers, most ranchers and farmers spray some pretty strong chemicals that have known cancer-causing agents in them, and that's just not the way we do things. So instead, we like to take what becomes a problem typically in a field and make it a solution somewhere else in an appropriate location. And in the cycle of this plant, we like to allow it to flower, and right as it's flowering, then cut it down with a Japanese hand sickle. And this is something you can get for $7 to $20 on Amazon, or if you're going to a local garden center, maybe they might have something similar to this that you could use. And so in chopping and dropping, we simply just grab at the base and cut as much of the plant off as we can to weaken it. Now, this hound's tongue has a very impressive taproot to it. It can grow up to 3 feet or deeper in its first year. And with that, it's going to have another flush of energy and growth to try and set seed. Now we've just stressed the plant, and so once again it's going to come up and we'll revisit it later in the season. But we look at this as a resource. So we've got a lot of good biomass, and with the taproot, it's mined up a lot of good nutrients from the subsoil. So if we observe, we can look and see if there's any mature seeds, and there's not, so we could use this as a mulch. Hound's tongue usually grows in areas of disturbed soil. It'll find a niche and fill it. And we certainly have disturbed bare soil here, so it's doing its duty in the ecosystem. It just, unfortunately for us, leads to problems for our livestock. So we could use this, and actually what we're going to do is put it in a trench where we're putting food scraps and cardboard boxes and weeds that we're cutting that maybe have gone to seed, that we want to keep them from reintroducing that plant into the population of our pastures and orchards. And we bury it and let it decompose and create really rich soil that we then plant just next to our trees and shrubs. So we're taking this and creating something productive that can feed us, our livestock, produce fuel wood, anything that we need. Well, you can see I still have some hound's tongue here, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue to work on this and take this potential problem and create a solution somewhere else, the permaculture way. And I would encourage you to do your own research on weeds that are growing on your property. One, look at what they do after you see some research, you'll maybe understand that there's something that they're trying to repair in your soil. There's a reason they're there. They're telling you something. We in permaculture call them pioneer species. They're trying to push your soil, push the ecosystem towards a fuller expression of itself. In the meantime, we may not be happy with the current conditions, and in the case of houndstooth for us, it can cause some problems, which is why we're removing it. But let the weeds teach you something, and if you do need to remove them for your purposes, find a positive use for them. We highly encourage not spraying chemicals for the pollution it causes to the air, soil, water, and to wildlife, livestock, and ourselves. But using something simple and getting out and observing and interacting with your land, the rhythms and the timing of growth, flowering, seed, production, it'll give you this sense of place and connection to your land, but also make your land more productive and keep you from having to deal with problems potentially with sick livestock down the line. Well, if you have any questions about any of this, you can put them in the comment section below this video. And as always, thanks for watching.